Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Cashman's Playbook for Saturday, May 13th. Before we get started, if you would, please hit the subscribe and the thumbs up button on YouTube if you're watching there. If you're on Twitter, please like and retweet. Helps out a lot. We'll go over the NFL schedule release and a couple of teams of interest. We'll kind of break down the schedules for a couple teams that I had kind of had on my radar there after looking at the win totals. We'll go over the schedule for a few of those teams. We'll go over the day in MLB, and then we'll touch on the Byron Nelson at the end briefly. But we lost last night. One subscriber played Texas Rangers. We had a -1.5, and I knew around the 5th or 6th inning we were going to be in trouble, that they couldn't fend off Oakland. Oakland would answer every opportunity that they had, and they left runners at second and third a couple times. I think they had runners at second and third once with no one out and didn't get anything out of it. So just wasn't meant to be last night. We'll see if we can't find anything later today for Saturday. As far as the day in MLB, we've got you got Tampa and New York in Yankee Stadium, 105. The over-under in that game is 8. You got Shane McClanahan, Nestor Cortez, two really good lefties for each team. Bullpens are both pretty good. You look at McClanahan, he's got a 1.76 ERA on the year. He's 7-0. So I would guess he's probably I haven't looked at the odds. He's got to be the leading candidate for AL Cy Young. Cortez, he's had a few bumpy starts. He's got a 4.74 ERA right now. Versus Tampa in his last 5, he's 2-3 with a 3.38 earned run average. You look at McClanahan, 1-2, but a 2.33 ERA his last 5 versus the Yankees. I would lean toward the under here. Like I said, you got two good bullpens, two pretty good left-handers. And so I would lean there towards the under. I haven't made a play on it yet. Two pretty good left. But that's what I'm looking at right now. I want to do just a little bit more work on it when we get off of here. And I will have your computer projections for MLB. I'll have them up by 12:30 for the early games, and then we'll probably do the second tier for the 3 p.m. and later starts. We'll probably have them up around 2:30. So I would lean under there for that Tampa Bay Yankee game. Seattle, Detroit. We'll pass on that one. I'm still waiting. I haven't checked back. I'm waiting to see if the Reds announce their pitcher. They pulled Lodolo against Alcantara of Miami. That's a 110 start. Derek Law's pitching. So I need to, when I get off of here, we'll make a note. We need to do a little bit of work on Derek Law and see if he's actually starting the game or if he's going to be an opener. Numbers look good for this year in relief. 2-4, 2.79 ERA against Alcantara. Now I was definitely leaning towards Miami with Lodolo going, and we'll have to take a look at Law here and look at his career numbers. But Alcantara against the Reds, 2-2 with a 2.17 ERA. His last 4 starts against them. He's not having the season he had last year, but he's pitched a little bit better his last 3 starts. So maybe he's getting it around. He had a really bad start at Philadelphia where he gave up 9 runs in 4 innings. So he looks like he's starting to get back into form. I would lean Miami there. I need to do a little work on Law, and I need to find out for sure if Law is an opener or if he's actually starting. I'm assuming he's an opener. So we'll check on that. I'll get back to you on that if I have anything. Boston and the Cardinals. That game, that's a 4-10 game. You got Steven Matz and Chris Sale going in this one. And you look at Matz, he gets hit. He's got a 5.70 ERA his last 7 starts. He's got a 5.75 ERA in his last 4 starts against Boston. Now, a lot of the people that have done him some damage with the Red Sox are on the bench or are injured, actually not going to play. Adam Duvall, Trevor Story, 2 of the bigger ones that have hit him really well, that have had some long-term success. So they're not in the lineup. So his numbers are a little inflated versus the entire Red Sox roster because those 2 aren't going to play. But you look at his Motz's ERA performance against the actives, he's still they're hitting 338 against him with a slugging percentage around 454. So they're not killing him as far as extra base hits, but they are hitting him. So you got to take a look at that. I'm not really sure where Chris Sale's at right now. You look at him, he's kind of every other start. He's had one run in every other start his last four. He went on the 18th, he had allowed one run against Minnesota, then he allowed 5 at Baltimore, allowed 1 at home to Cleveland, and then 3 at Philadelphia. So his first home start, he allowed 7 runs against Baltimore. So it's not really sure if it's a home away thing because he was really bad in that first home start against Baltimore. He hasn't pitched against St. Louis in quite a while. There's not a lot of numbers there for that. I would lean towards Boston scoring some runs here. And I believe the over first 5 innings. Yeah, over the first 5 innings at last check was that 2.5 at -115 or so. I would take a look at that. They've been scoring runs in this series already. Boston's bats have been going for a while now. You look at Mott's here on the season. He against right-handed batters, he's allowing a 325 batting average. Right-handers are slugging over 520 against him. On the road, opponents are hitting 317 against him. I think Boston gets to him today, and I believe that over 2.5 looks pretty good. So that will be a play, personal play. I haven't decided on a subscriber play for that one yet, but like I said, that's a 410 game, 407 game, something like that. So Boston over. And it probably won't be a subscriber play because we've kind of gotten away from doing the over 2.5s as subscriber plays. They were things that were something that was really good for me in the past. The last 2 years, the over 2.5s for the first 5 have not been good. But they actually lately, the last week or so, they've actually been pretty good in the personal play market. So that will be a personal play for sure. Boston over 2.5, first 5 innings, -115. That'll be the first play that I will have for Saturday. And go back to my notes here. We've got Cleveland. Cleveland's is a tough one here. I had written down they're over 1.5 for the first 5. It's juiced a little bit to -140. You look at the Reed Detmers going for the Angels today. 0-3 with a 5.10 ERA. He's got a 5.27 ERA in his last 3 starts versus Cleveland. 2 of those were at Cleveland, and both of those starts he allowed at least 3 runs in those games. Cleveland's not hitting the ball very well right now. So they haven't scored, I think, once. They haven't scored over 4 runs. I'm looking at their last 10 right now. They've only scored 4 runs twice in their last 10. They haven't been over 4 at all in those last 10. So they're not hitting the ball right now. I believe I saw checked them out versus left-handed pitchers, and they're only hitting right around 200 the last 10 versus lefties. So it's tough to back them. My gut tells me they're going to score. Detmers has allowed 2 or more runs. Looking at his last 7 here, he's allowed 2 or more runs in 6 of his last 7. 6 straight, he's allowed at least 2. In his last 2 games, he's allowed 3 runs and 7 runs. He's hittable. He got his whip is up there a little bit. Runners get on base against him. But I don't know about Cleveland right now. Their bats are a little tired. You look at their team against Detmers right now. You got Ahmed Rosario, 3 for 7 in his career with a double. And Rosario, I went and looked at his last 7 days. He's actually he's hitting the ball pretty well the last 7. You might look at a hit or prop for him. I don't know what the number is yet on it. You can get him maybe over 1.5 total bases at a plus number, maybe. Take a look at that. If you can get him at over just to get 1 hit at -120 or so, I might take a look at that. I'd probably look at that as well. But like I said, I haven't checked the line on that yet. Jose Ramirez, 2 for 6 with a home run against Detmers. So I lean Cleveland there, but right now the numbers just say Cleveland's not hitting the ball. So I'm probably gonna pass on that. Maybe I'll make a personal play before the first pitch. That's another. Let's see what time this game starts. Cleveland. That is a 6:10 first pitch. So we got a little time to decide there and see. But -140, given the way the Guardians are hitting right now, I'm not sure I want to do that. So I'll get back to you subscribers this afternoon on that one if I decide to play it. We got the Braves at Toronto. Bryce Elder going for Atlanta against Jose Barrios. Now, Elder, 174 ERA, 3-0 on the season, pitching very well. He's allowed one or fewer runs in 5 of his 7 starts this year. He's going really, really good for Atlanta. This Atlanta pitching staff's good. Their bullpen's starting to pitch a little bit better. You look at Barrios, I leaned Atlanta in this game, and I don't remember what the number is now, but I leaned Atlanta here. I think it was a decent number. Barrios is kind of a wild card here. I went back and looked his last 10 starts. The Blue Jays have not won consecutive starts that he's made. So he wins one, they win one and lose one whenever he starts. He won his last start. So right now, what recent history is telling you that he's due to lose this one. He's pitched better. He's pitched a lot better at home than he has on the road. So this one's in Toronto. So you got a little bit of conflicting data here. Atlanta has hit him well. His only start versus the Braves was in 2019. 5.2 innings pitched, gave up 9 runs. And this current Atlanta group, they had a pretty good average against him from what I remember. They're hitting 326 and slugging 574 against Barrios. So which guy shows up? Is it he's been pitching well at home? Does that guy show up again today at home? But the Blue Jays haven't won back-to-back starts that he's made in the last 10 games dating back to September of last season. So you've got some conflicting data. You've got some numbers for Atlanta. I believe Atlanta was – let's just pull up. I've got DraftKings up here, but I've got it on the football page. Let's look up and see what that – I thought Atlanta was close to plus money on that. Let's pull it up. Yeah, Atlanta is plus 105 to win that game. The Blue Jays bullpen has not been very good. I would lean – now, Elder's due to probably get hit here. This is a good Toronto lineup. I would still lean Atlanta here against Barrios. I don't know that I'll make a play on it. It'll be a small one if I do. That's a 3:07 start time. That's a gamble. I mean, it's a coin toss. You're playing. Which angle are you going to play? Are you going to play Barrios at home, or are you going to play Barrios? The Jays not winning back-to-back starts on him in 10 games dating back to last season. Elders look good. Like I said, I think he's due to get roughed up a little, but he did give up 4 runs in 5 innings against Miami 3 starts ago. So he's had a bump in the road there. Bounced back really well. 1 run over his last 2 starts. So I definitely lean Atlanta there. We'll see if we can get to a play on that here after the show. Do just a little bit more work on that one. Houston at the White Sox last night. I told you guys in the write-up last night, I leaned Houston last night. They did win the game. Wasn't real sure about Sears, who was pitching for them. He looked really good in his first start, but he's a young guy. Don't know much about him. Wasn't really ready to back him yet. I'd probably give him one more start. We'll see how he does, and then I'll maybe start taking a look at backing him. But for Houston tonight, you got Brandon Bielak. He's made 1 start this year. He gave up 10 hits. He only gave up 2 earned runs, so he got out of some trouble. But he's a guy that looks like he's going to be able – that the teams are going to hit. Going against Dylan Cease, 5.58 ERA this year, 2-2 record. He's got a 5.13 ERA his last 5 starts versus Houston, 0-3. You still got that White Sox bullpen that's been better than they have, but they're still not been great. Their ERA the last 10 has come down. Last couple of weeks it's been trending 6.5 and higher. Well, the last 10 it's down to around 4.5. Astros bullpen the last 10's over 4 as well. Last look at this, the total was 8.5. I would lean 8. I lean the over here. I would take. I think I'd take a look at the over 8.5 if you can get that number with this matchup. The way numbers look, Cease has got a 6.35 ERA his last 7 starts. He's given up 5 home runs his last 34 innings pitched. So Houston's bats have not been on fire. They're due to wake up, and then Cease might be the answer. He's allowed 3 or more runs in 4 of his last 5 starts. He did face them earlier this year at Houston. Pitched really well in that start. It was his first start of the year, but he's kind of been downhill since. So I would lean over 8.5 in that matchup. We're given the bullpens right now and given these 2 starting pitchers. I think that number was a little low. I would have expected maybe a 9 or 9.5. Maybe it gets to 9 before it's over with. But my last look about an hour ago, it was 8.5. So lean the over for Houston at the White Sox tonight. And that was pretty much it looks like, for MLB as far as the games I had some interest in. Not a big home run prop field today either. We took a O for last night on home run props after killing it on Wednesday. So there just wasn't that many today that I thought were worth going after. So that'll do it for MLB. Now, like I told you about the computer models, I will have those models up for the early games around 12:30. And then I'll have the later games up probably. You'll have the next block that starts at 3 o'clock and then 4 o'clock. So I'll have the 3 o'clock and later games. I'll have those up around 2:30. But the 105 through 210 games I'll have up around 12:30 for you. Computer models for Major League Baseball. Computer model number 1 right now is 30, 13, and 1 this year in MLB over-under projections. 2-1 last night for Model 1 in MLB totals. So you can get access to those computer models when you become a Picks member at TheCashmanwins.com. You see at the bottom of the screen there, we're running a promotion that ends Sunday at 11:59 p.m. You get 2 years for the price of 1 year, $59. And so that, you're not going to find anything better than that out there as far as people that do what I do and put out as much information as I put out. And I'm not in this to take you guys for money. I charge for my time, usually $1.50 a week, something like that. And so you can go, if you were interested in becoming a Picks member, go to TheCashmanwins.com. 2 years, $59. That promotion ends Sunday at 11:59 p.m. And then also computer models for NHL. Model number 4 is 16, 2, and 1. It's last 19 Stanley Cup playoff over/under totals. So I've already got a total up for tonight's Dallas at Seattle Game 6. Play has been posted for subscribers for Model 4. You can get those again if becoming a Pick subscriber at TheCashmanwins.com. So we went live Thursday night with the NFL schedule release. I didn't like it was just too drawn out to do it live. It didn't work out like I wanted it to. I made some notes. They're watching it. We're on there about 50 minutes. It might have, I don't know how many of you stayed awake for it, but I was having trouble staying awake. I'm not interested in listening to all the talk. I want them to get in there and get into the schedules, but they drug it on for 2 hours. So that I should have checked that beforehand. I was expecting an hour show, and that they drug it out for 2 hours. So we made some notes on a few of these teams. Baltimore over 9.5. I'm gonna pull my DraftKings up back to where I had it at in the NFL for these season win totals, so we can see where these prices lie for these teams. Team futures and regular season wins. Okay, so the Ravens at 9.5. Just on the outset, looking at it without even going over the schedule yet, I would lean the over. That's minus 120. Ravens are an injury-prone team, though. We've had some futures on them the last 2 or 3 years. I think we might have hit one, but we got killed 1 year because I placed it a little earlier than normal, and then they lost their entire running back room. I think that was 2 years ago. You just think about it. You think this ought to be a 10-win team, but you look at it, that NFC or AFC North is going to be a pretty good division. I think you got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore vying for playoffs. I'm not sure what Cleveland's going to do, but I think you're definitely going to see Baltimore, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati vying for playoffs. So let's look at their schedule and see where we get. Now, when I do break down schedules, the first time I go through them, I always assume that teams are going to split their division. That's just how I start it. And then we'll see out of division. Sometimes you still don't reach projected win total with the 3 wins in the division. So that's just kind of a marker I use to start and then go from there. So we're going to assume they'll have 3 wins in that division. So we won't go over those division games. They're going to open the season versus Houston. That'll be a win. There's one at Cincinnati. They're going to host Indianapolis. That's going to be a win. There's 2 at Cleveland, at Pittsburgh, 2 division games. Hosting Tennessee, That is a 9:30 a.m. game, so that must be a London game. That would be, I'm going to say that's a win as well. 2, that's 3 out of division, so you're at 6. Versus Detroit, that could go either way. We'll say it's a home game. Let's say just for the sake, since we're going to say lose. They're going to go to Arizona after that. I don't like Arizona. I think they win that. So we're now at 4 out of division wins after the Arizona game. You've got Seattle. We'll say that's a loss. We'll say Seattle's a loss. And then you got back-to-back division games with Cleveland and Cincinnati. At the Chargers, I'm going to say that's a loss. Versus the Rams, no idea what the Rams are going to be. Doesn't seem like they're going to be that great. I don't see them bouncing back and being I don't know that they're going to be a playoff team. So that's a home game for Baltimore. I'm going to call that a win as well. So that's 5 out of division wins. At Jacksonville, at San Francisco. I'm not sure if they could potentially lose both of those games. I'm gonna say they do lose them both for the sake of this first run through. Then you've got Miami in Baltimore. I'm going to say that's a win. Then week 18, home to Pittsburgh, and that you've got to think about week 18. Where do we think these teams are going to be? Our team's going to be resting starters. I think Pittsburgh's going to be fighting for a playoff spot. I think they're probably going to be in a position to play their starters. Where's Baltimore going to be at? They're probably going to need to play as well. So we've already said 3-3 in the division. Win at Houston's 4. Win at Indy is 5. Win versus Houston 6. Win at Arizona is 7. Win versus the Rams 8. We'll say a win at home versus the Dolphins 9. So you're at 9. So I didn't get the 10 on that run through at 3-3. So we need to make a note of that and do some more work on that in the coming week. It looks like the could be that at Jacksonville, at San Francisco back-to-back. If they can win one of those, then based on what I just went through, they get the 10. So this is a close one. It's definitely not a one of those you want to – I don't think it's one of those you want to hammer. Another one I had down on the sheet here that I thought looked a little low just from what I know is Dallas. Their total is at 9.5. The juice, it's a minus 130, so the over is minus 130 for them to get to 10 wins. Under is plus 110. Let's look at their schedule. Open at the Giants. Well, the division will say they're going 3-3 in the division to start. Okay, hosting the Jets. We'll call that a loss. At Arizona, that's going to be a win. Hosting the Patriots, we'll say that's a win. That's 2. At San Francisco, at LA versus the Rams. So you got a block of 3 games right there. We'll say they win. Let's say they win 2 of those. That's going to get them to 4. Eagles division game, Giants division game. At Carolina, I'll say they win that one. It's 5. Washington division game. Seattle will be close. Let's abstain from Seattle right now. We're at 5. Philadelphia is a division game. At Buffalo, at Miami. Let's say they split there. That's 6. Home to Detroit. No, Detroit's going to be good, but I don't like the move that Detroit made, letting Swift get away. We had a guy average 5 yards a carry last year. That's a difference maker. I don't like it. There's got to be more to it than what we're hearing. So we've got them at 6. Detroit, that's a home game. It's a primetime game, a Saturday night game. It's going to be probably an important game for both teams. They might be fighting each other for a playoff spot. I'm going to say they win that game at 8. So let's go. Let's see. So we've got with the division, you got 3 in the division, and then you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And that Detroit would be 10. And then you've got the at Washington to end, which we factored into going 3-3 in the division. Yeah, that's another close one. 10. I mean, it seems like they're a 10-win team, but back-to-back at San Francisco, at LA, they could lose both of those games. I mean, very realistically. At Carolina should win that. At Buffalo, that'll be tough. Yeah, that's going to be a tough one. I don't know that I'm ready to say over on that one just yet. We probably need to let things play out a little bit. We just mentioned Miami. Miami's one of those teams. I think they might be a little overhyped. I don't like their coach. I don't get it. I don't know why anyone would listen to that guy in an NFL locker room. But their total is 9.5 as well. So we're looking, are they going to get to 10 wins, or are they going to be at 9 wins or less? Their over is even money, plus 100. Under is minus 120. So even money on an over here if they get to 10 wins. And I'm just going to, as for the sakes of the split of the division at 3-3, I will say they win their home games, their home division, they lose their road. So when I go through the schedule here, so they're going to open at the Chargers. I'm going to say that's a loss. At New England, that's a road division game. We'll say loss. Hosting Denver, no idea what Denver's going to have. You know, new coach Sean Payton. Russell Wilson looked like he was about done last year. That's a while. I mean, I really don't know. Is Russell Wilson going to bounce back? Is Sean Payton going to make a big difference? You know he's going to have an impact, but what does Russell Wilson have physically left? So I will say that's going to be a win. At Buffalo, a division road game, we'll call that a loss. That's 3. So they're 1-3 here. We've got home to New York. I think we said New York was going to I'm going to actually say they're going to lose that one. So they're still at 1 win. Hosting Carolina, that's 2 wins there. I'm going to say a win versus Carolina. At Philadelphia, road division loss. Hosting New England, that's a home division win. That's 3. The Chiefs, looks like a London game or a Germany game. That's 9:30. That's going to be a loss. So we're at 3 wins. Hosting the Raiders. Raiders, who knows what the Raiders are going to be. Jimmy G there at quarterback. Derek Carr was not very good last year. You think the Raiders are going to be a little bit better than what they are. We've only got them for 3 wins right now for Miami. Let's say they win that. That's 4. At the Jets, road division game, we'll call that a loss. At Washington, Washington's not going to be very good either. I think probably similar to last season. We'll call that a win. That's 5. Hosting Tennessee. I don't think Tennessee's trending in the right direction right now. Now, we don't know if Levis is going to end up starting, if he's going to be anything. Long term, I don't think he's going to be the answer. Can he come in early on and, maybe during the season become the starter? I don't know if he wins the job or not in camp. Home game against Tennessee here. I'm going to say Miami wins that one. Home game versus the Jets, I'll say they win that one. Home game versus Dallas, I think we just said Dallas was going to win that one. At Baltimore, that's a loss. Versus Buffalo, home game. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got them around 6 or 7 wins. So that looks like an under. I don't love Miami. I don't know what they've done to be that much better than last year where they faded. They faded. Is Tua going to stay healthy? It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not really sold on Tua either. So it looks like Miami is definitely a lean to the under at minus 120 on DraftKings. So we'll put the under there. Star that. That'll be something we're going to focus on here in the next couple of weeks as I get into the off-season changes and roster, what their projected depth chart looks like and all that good stuff. But Miami is one of those teams that I thought the 9.5 was a little high, and it makes me feel good to go through that schedule the way I do it and come a couple wins short of even getting to 9. So definitely lean to Miami. We'll have a final say-so on that here probably in a couple of weeks. Giants, another team, 8.5. I thought that was a little low. 8.5, the over 8.5 is plus 120, so you're getting very good return on that on a playoff team that actually won a playoff game last year. So let's look at their schedule here and see about see if they can get to 9 wins, 9 and 8. I mean, put all that money in Daniel Jones. Home game, Dallas, like we said, we're splitting home wins and road losses. So we're going to say a win there. At Arizona, we'll call that a win. That's 2. At San Francisco, we don't know if San Francisco is going to have a quarterback to start the season, if it's going to be Purdy or if he's going to be ready to go. We're going to call that a loss. So we're still at 2 wins. Hosting Seattle. Now, Seattle's another team invested in the run game. Geno Smith had a great year last year. I think he led the league in completion percentage. After all these years, he looks like a legit NFL quarterback. Is that a one-year wonder? Or is this the new Geno Smith? I don't know. So you've got a wild card here. We'll call that a win since it is a home game. It's a primetime ESPN game. That's a Monday night game. Okay, we're going to say that's a win, and we need to take a look at the Giants' run defense as well going forward, because that's what Seattle's going to do. Seattle's going to be a good run team. They're going to want to run the ball, run D for the Giants. So we're at 3 wins. At Miami, I think we gave Miami a win there. The road loss. We're at Buffalo. We're going to give them a loss there. Hosting Washington, that's a home division game. That's 4. Hosting the Jets, which is really a neutral game. They play in the same stadium. I'm going to say that's a loss. At Las Vegas, at Dallas, at Washington, 3 games in a row. We'll give them 5. Hosting New England, we'll give them 6. Hosting Green Bay, I don't think Green Bay is going to be all that great. We don't know about Jordan Love. In limited time, I'm not impressed. We'll give them to 7 there. At New Orleans and at Philadelphia, they could lose them both. We'll give them 1 win. We'll say they win at New Orleans. That's 8. Then they've got the Rams. That's 9. And then they end with Philadelphia. And again, week 18, you never know who's playing starters, who needs to win, who needs to play starters. So that's nothing definitive on the Giants just yet. And we have some more we'll go over in the coming weeks. Colts, a lot of you are Colts fans, so let's look at the Colts real quick. And the Colts are not good. I can tell you right now, I will not be betting on the Colts because I just don't know what Anthony Richardson's going to be out of the gate. There's too many variables here, but their total is, I have written down 6.5. Yep, it's juiced to -140. So the under is +120. So 7 wins would be -140. Jacksonville home. Oof. We'll stick to our system of the splitting, but Jacksonville's going to be tough. We'll give them the win there though. At Houston, road division loss. At Baltimore, I think they'll lose that one, so we're still at 1. They host the Rams. They can win that one, I think. We'll give them a win there at 2. Home division game to Tennessee, 3. At Jacksonville, loss. Hosting Cleveland. They got the Saints after that. So you got back-to-back home games. I think we'll give them 1 win in that block of 2. So 4 at Carolina. Going to be another tough one. What's Carolina going to have? I'm going to say they lose that. It's a road game. Then they've got the neutral game. It's either in London or Germany. I can't remember. Against New England. That's a tough one. Yeah, I don't know about that one. We'll abstain from New England right now and see where we come out. Tampa Bay home win, I think, versus Tampa Bay off the bye. At Tennessee, road division loss. At Cincinnati, I think that's a loss. Hosting Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh came in last year and beat Indianapolis. I think Pittsburgh's a pretty good team, so I think Colts have a chance right here where they might lose 3 in a row. And then you've got at Atlanta versus Vegas, and then ending versus Houston. I'd say you get 2 wins there. So we'll go and look and see. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I see a possibility of 7 wins here. And that, like I said, that is we don't know. I mean, really don't know. I mean, I'm just looking at this and gauging that we're gauging that and hoping that Richardson's going to be a threat at least with his feet. And I think it's going to be fun to watch Indianapolis this year, but I also think there's going to be a lot of frustrating moments as well as Anthony Richardson grows. But the more I've listened to Anthony Richardson and more I've read about him, I wasn't thrilled with the Colts taking him to start with, but I really like him. He's a smart guy. He's willing to learn. I think, I don't know what you're going to see the first year, but I think he's got a real chance to be something going forward if this coaching staff is up to snuff. I think he's willing to learn. I think he's going to be able to learn, and I think he'll flourish with good coaching. So it's just really a wild card with Indianapolis right now. I can't really they're just not going to be – they're going to be someone I'm going to watch, but I don't know that I'm going to back them a lot this year because you just don't know. We've got the Byron Nelson Classic underway in golf. Looking at the leaderboard today, Scotty Scheffler's leading, and when Scheffler or John Rahm are in the lead, I'm not placing really any bets on anyone else. When they're going good, they're hard to beat. Scheffler has a one-stroke lead, minus 14, so everyone's shooting pretty good these first 2 rounds. They've got, looks like, 20-some people that are 9 under through the first 2 rounds. And you look on the leaderboard behind him, you see a lot of people that you usually don't see there at the end. So I think this probably looks like a Scheffler's to win. Let's see where he's at as far as odds to win it. I'm sure they're going to be juiced. Now, actually, minus 175 is not bad given his usually when he gets a lead, he wins. So he's minus 175. Next favorite's Ryan Palmer at plus 900. I don't want to really want to back any of these other people that are behind him right now. So if I was going to bet anything, even at that number, I'd have to bet Scheffler. Him and John Rahm, when they're leading after 2 or going into they're leading going into the 3rd round or right in the hunt. I don't like betting against them. So that's probably where I would go if you had a golf bet that you wanted to place. So we went over MLB. I'll get back to you on a couple of those MLB games. Computer projections are up for the NHL game tonight. 16, 2-1, last 19 totals for computer model number 4. Those are available for Picks members. Become a Picks member at TheCashmanwins.com. Remember, running that special that ends Sunday at 11:59. 2 years for the price of 1. You're going to get it's $59. Less than $2 a week. Everything I offer is less than $2 a week. So you're not going to have a situation like a lot of these guys that are charging you $59 for the day or for the week or whatever, and you get a lot of bang for your buck. I put out a lot of information. So I just charge for my time basically. And I spend a lot of time on this. So TheCashmanwins.com. If you're interested in becoming a Pick subscriber, go there. My DMs are always open on Twitter. If you've got a question, at TheCashmanWins. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit the like and the subscribe button. And then if you're watching on YouTube, please retweet it. Give me a follow on Twitter as well, at TheCashmanWins. That will wrap it up for this week. I will see you next Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I hope all of you have a good weekend. Looks like maybe it's some rain here later in Fishers, the way it's looking right now. I haven't looked at the forecast, but looking like we might see some rain. But I hope you all have a great weekend and stay safe out there. Thank you, everybody.